I've not made a video for this playlist in a very long time, and in fact what got me thinking about doing this is the recent news about Tony Bennett's passing, which happened yesterday at the time of recording this. And it just got me thinking, because I grew up listening to a lot of Tony Bennett's music, and his music was always just so typical big band era, Rat Pack era. So it's pretty sad that he's passed. But instead of only being saddened by his passing, I thought a good way to celebrate his life is to share his music with you. So this is Tony Bennett, and if you haven't heard of him, he's been a legend for the longest time. In fact, I do have this Blu-ray disc with the Duets 2 album that he came out with a few years ago, and I'm discussing this in particular today because there are some absolutely terrific performances. If you are into genres like EDM and heavy metal and hard rock, you may not enjoy Tony Bennett, because he comes from a generation where lyrics were romanticized. Lyrics had a lot more meaning, at least back then, and it's not as lyrics weren't as shallow as they are today, in fact. So if you are in one of those moments in your life where you are trying to meet somebody, or you have met someone, I think his lyrics will connect you a lot, and it will bring a sense of peace and understanding with the music in particular. So anyway, let me talk about what this album is about. In fact, like, some of the people he's sang with on this album are names like Andre Bocelli, Michael Bublé, Natalie Cole, Sheryl Crow, Aretha Franklin, Josh Groban, and so on. It really goes on. So this album came out quite a few years ago, in fact. This was for his 85th birthday. So this was a whole 11 years ago when this album came out, and this was the second one that he came out with. So a lot of his music is big band, and if you don't know what big band is, you are the solo vocalist usually, or you sing a duet, in this case like he is singing with other people. So you are backed by a big band, which is, you've got your strings, you've got your horns, your triangles, you've got the works, usually at least maybe 15 to 30, it could be 60 instruments that are backing you completely, which is quite phenomenal. So it's a different experience in music altogether. And the thing is, what I like about this kind of music is that there's always a lot of investment into making sure that the best sounding instruments are used, the best talented artists are brought in to be part of the backing band, the best mics are used, the best hardware is used to record all this music. So when it does come back to you, whether it's compressed or in high resolution form, it always sounds much better than listening to heavily compressed music. Or should I say, a lot of artists just want to churn out a lot of music, and there's not much effort that goes into mixing a lot of the music, so you don't get as much quality or clarity in that audio. You can't go wrong with guys like this. The level of dedication and quality and passion that you hear in this music is, I mean, it speaks for itself. So anyway, getting back to the music. So I cannot play back any of the music for you in this video because copyright strikes, but I will mention the few that I like, but I will leave all the videos to these links down below from YouTube. So now via YouTube there is heavy compression. The best way you can listen to this is maybe Apple Music. If this album is available there, it should be available there, but I would encourage you to listen to this on a higher res system, higher res files, to genuinely get the full enjoyment of what this music is about. So anyway, coming to the songs that I like, it starts off with Michael Bublé, which is a terrific track. Don't get around much anymore. It's an old piece. There's nothing new about it. These are all mostly covers. Then he does sing with Andre Bocelli. Andre Bocelli, I'm sure, or if you don't know Andre Bocelli, well, he's a terrific tenor. He's got really a God-given talent. I think Andre Bocelli is blind, and it's almost as if for the sight that he doesn't have, he was compensated with a angelic voice, because he's got a beautiful voice to listen to. So you need to check out Andre Bocelli's music as well if you haven't. Amy Winehouse, the late Amy Winehouse, also, that was quite sad that she passed, but I have never heard her voice the way I have with this track in particular, in Body and Soul, along with Tony Bennett. Again, it's linked down below if you do want to listen to that. If you were an Amy Winehouse fan, something tells me you may not have heard this track, because there are a lot of artists here who don't usually sing in this style, but when they sang with Tony Bennett, they did shift gears a bit. So another one that I do like, On the Sunny Side of the Street, a duet with Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson's also one of my favorite artists. In fact, I did mention Willie Nelson recently in a video I spoke about the speaker behind me. I did carry one of his records to test these speakers, in fact, because even the audio quality and a lot of his music, they pay a lot of attention. He has his own style and makes his music his own. Check out Willie Nelson as well if you haven't already. This specific track, The Lady is a Tramp, Lady Gaga sings along with Tony Bennett. And before I heard her singing this track in particular, I had heard her sing all of her usual songs, you know, the Poker Face and whatever else she was coming out with at the time. I'm talking about 11 years ago. Lady Gaga was still doing a lot of pop music. It was a lot of dance music for the clubs. Now, I didn't think she could do anything more than that, because, well, you get so used to listening to an artist, you just assume that is their range. But if you listen to her singing in this song, it's something else. She really does show off her true scale when it comes to performing this track, and it's a very enjoyable number, especially when you watch it on video, because you can see both Tony and her having a lot of fun with this track in particular, and it's just generally good fun to listen to, because it's a terrific performance, recorded beautifully, and it almost pulls you into that moment when you're listening to this song on a good set of speakers or headphones. A big surprise I got, I wasn't expecting of all people to sing with Tony Bennett, is John Mayer. He sings One for My Baby and One More for the Road. It's a bit weird listening to John Mayer duet with Tony Bennett, because it's very obvious who has the stronger voice, but they've done it in a very tasteful way. It is a nicely recorded track, and it's fun to listen to, and it's nice to see John get out of his comfort zone with that track. And of course, this album finishes off with an absolute banger, where they sing How Do You Keep the Music Playing, and Tony Bennett sings this along with the late Aretha Franklin. And when it comes to being or feeling emotionally connected to a song, it's not so much about the visuals, but even if you were to listen to this song while closing your eyes and just absorb the music and absorb the lyrics, this is an absolutely terrific track to listen to. And I love the fact that there's a little bit of candid footage left at the end, because I think somewhere at the end, one of the producers asks, is that it? Or, sorry, Tony Bennett says, did we get it, or is that it? And I think this may have been the first and only take they did. And Aretha Franklin, being Aretha Franklin, she did sort of laugh it off and dismiss it. What do you mean? She's an absolute prime artist. Aretha Franklin is one of the gods, you could say, when it comes to the music industry over the last many decades. So this entire album is a terrific album to listen to, and I'm going to be listening to it maybe tonight or tomorrow over the weekend, just to celebrate Tony's life in general. And I think I'll pay a little more attention to talking to you guys about music, because I think music plays a very important role in many people's lives. And of course, if you guys do also have some suggestions of what I could listen to, I'm more than open to it. I'd like to be introduced to more music, because I can test more audio gear this way and give you a better explanation of it. So there you have it. That's Tony Bennett, and he's given a lot of people a lot of reasons to smile over the past many years of his very long career. And of course, I'm sure all of our condolences go to his family, and I hope that his music does continue to give a lot more people a lot more smiles and love and laughter. And happy listening. All the links are down below.